Consoles, the next generation, boldly going where no man has gone before. What up, viewers? What up? What up? Today is Friday, November 6th, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. Like I said in my cold open, a lot of the information this week is going to be talking about the next generation consoles as they launch next week. And the embargoes have been lifted on, the reviews for each of the next generation consoles. So, and my entire feed blew up as soon as those kind of embargoes kind of lifted. So let's talk about it. Started reading reviews. I have a link down in the description below about a couple of reviews for the Xbox Series X and S. None of them are really conclusive. I don't think people have had their hands on them for weeks or months at a time now. And a lot of the scoring, it's not like a Metacritic score, so a lot of the scoring isn't kind of the 1 to 10 scale that we're used to. So a lot of the reviews I read were like non-scored, but they talked about the next generation console. One of the things that kept bringing up is, again, everything that's been touted in these next generation consoles have been the load times, and so I saw a bunch of videos kind of showing the load time comparisons, and definitely getting in and playing a game of Monster Hunter World, which when I played was definitely a commitment when you wanted to load into a mission, is now down to like less than a minute. So seeing that's really good. Destiny always had a good load screen where you could like still mess around with your character. I'm surprised more games don't do that. But overall, next gen consoles have definitely been touting the no load times, and I've seen the evidence in a couple of the reviews and in a couple of videos this week. I also watched a PlayStation 5 review. This one was a video review done by GameSpot, and they really went into each of the individual parts of it. The features are definitely very interesting. Kind of how you drop in and drop out of games. They're not really touting the quick resume that PlayStation or that Xbox has been really touting. Xbox, you can load in and load out of like 5 different games, or at least you can quick resume them up to 5 different games. PlayStation not really kind of beating that drum. They're more focused on kind of the main features, a lot of UI changes, which is really good because the PlayStation UI has needed an update for quite some time. They also talk about the controller. They're really, really hitting the controller, and I even saw controller reviews this week. But just like the haptic feedback and how much technology is really in the controller. The built-in microphone is actually really cool. I think that there might be issues with holding your microphone this far away from you, but and how much background or ambient noise gets picked up. But it's still a really cool feature to have in your kind of controller. So I really appreciated the time the review took to talk about the controller. Another feature was like you're able to set up game difficulty. You're able to pre-program game difficulty and look aversion to your console so that you don't have to keep doing it in each of the individual games, which is great for someone who uses inverted controls like I do and always likes cranking the difficulty up as high as possible. So I can kind of set those up in advance, and then every game I pick up from that point forward will be difficult and inverted. So I'm looking forward to kind of checking that out. And then they also the video also went into like Astro's Playroom and talking about kind of how it really walks you through the controller and how the haptic feedback works, and really just saying that it's a really good piece of software to come with a console. I've seen a lot of people saying that this might be the best on hardware software since Wii Sports, or at least the thing to come in, at least the best software to come packaged with the hardware. But I don't think that's a really high bar. So, but I'm really looking forward to playing Astro's Playroom as well when and if I can pick up a PlayStation 5. Speaking of PlayStation 5 and next generation, Godfall is a PlayStation exclusive coming next week. And it is the looter slasher game brought to you by Gearbox Publishing, or Gearbox Studios. Looking forward to playing this. The trailer that dropped this week was really focused on kind of the story and giving you a lot of narrative beats. And I'm wondering what the story's going to be like. I think the world and like the kind of art style are really compelling to me. but I'm really curious what the story is going to be overall. It really looks cool. It feels like it's really going to make you feel heroic when you like harness the power of your defeated enemies. For those who were looking for that kind of power fantasy. It also showed a little bit more gameplay, and this looked a lot tighter than at least the last video that I kind of picked apart. This video really showed like the kind of, duel-esque, sword duel-esque kind of animations that you're expecting from a game that's all about using your sword and making it feel strong and weighty and different. I thought the last one really seemed like slow and kind of floaty, and so I just, this one really like tightened up the gameplay, and I really enjoyed seeing that in the launch in the launch trailer. So this might be the one of the games that I'm looking to pick up with friends and play this holiday season. So hopefully it's good, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about it next week. EA's earning call was today, in fact, and they've been, besides record earnings and billion-dollar franchise in Apex Legends, another thing that they really started touting, and I think we've kind of been hearing rumblings about this for a while because the video games industry is nothing but rumors and a rumor mill. A Mass Effect, EA said that Mass Effect fans should be interested and keep their ear to the ground because something for Mass Effect fans is coming. I think we've talked about this before, that the idea of like a Mass Effect remastered trilogy, I think, has been coming for quite some time. I think it's a great idea. I think a lot of people really want all of those packaged up for next generation consoles, and EA is willing to give them to you because remasters are easy ways to sell you the games that you already own, but bring it to a new generation and potentially new consumers. So I only played like 1.5 of the games, so kind of bringing them all back together and being able to play them all in one sitting would be great for me. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that as well. Still talking about next gen, PlayStation, or at least Sony, has started talking about their day one strategy. Not only did we get the kind of dates of when the rollouts are happening and the dates and times, but Sony has said that they're not going to sell any physical retail on day one. They're going to be focused on online retail so that they can, prevent people from getting in long lines and potentially spreading COVID. So they've taken a stand and said that every day one console is going to be sold via online retailers. So if you want to buy a PlayStation 5 on day one, don't go down to your local retailer. You gotta get online and try and beat those bots because they're I'm frustrated with the whole bot situation, but don't want to bring this too far down. So yeah, I'm looking forward to trying to get a PlayStation console. But if you're trying to get one at your local retailer, you gotta look elsewhere because they want you to be buying it online so that you are, kind of falling into COVID guidelines. Take-Two is making aims to acquire a new studio. They are looking at, a bunch of articles came out this week talking about how they are looking to acquire Codemasters for in the tune of about $1 billion. I think a little bit less than $1 billion, like 990 million. Because what's another 10 million? But Codemasters is really known for their racing games. They're known for the Dirt series as well as its sister series, the Dirt Rally series. They're known for the F1 racing series. So Codemasters is really kind of a racing studio, a racing game studio. They do have a bunch of other games under their belts as well. And they've existed for 40 years, something that when researching all this and looking into Codemasters, small British studio that's been around since the 80s. It was really interesting to look into there, but they are definitely a racing studio, a racing house, and that seems to be their forte. So, and Take-Two, I don't think has really kind of been in the racing space, so this seems like a really good acquisition because you're always in M&A, you're always trying to go to a new region that you're not already playing in. So kind of acquiring Codemasters to get kind of into the racing genre seems like a good move. Apparently, as soon as Halloween is over, we start talking about Christmas exclusively and without falter. So saw a lot of articles this week talking about holiday gift guides. The one that I wanted to focus on was kind of gaming ornaments. In my house, we have kind of a tradition of every year you kind of get an ornament and you write the year on it, and you slowly amass this giant collection throughout the years. My mother has like 60 or 70 kind of she's not 60 or 70 years old, but she's amassed quite a collection of ornaments over her years. So she kind of passed that kind of tradition on to me, and a bunch of good ones were kind of listed out in this article that I saw this week. They had one that looked like the NES controller, one that looked like the original Golden Zelda cartridge, which was my favorite. They had their Minecraft one. There was like a Yoshi Mario Kart one. So all really fun, multiple different IPs, but really fun ways to get your family some ornaments, but still keeping it in the gaming landscape. So really like that article. I also really like talking about kind of like holiday gift guides. So I'll probably include one of those in every one of my news reports going forward up until Christmas, because it's kind of my favorite time of the year. So, but I do still think it's a little bit early to start talking about Christmas, but I could see why people want to focus on keeping up the holiday spirits, especially in these times. Moving right along, Control, the Remedy's latest kind of sci-fi game, has been delayed, and by delayed I mean the next-gen port for Control was kind of intended for this, somewhere in the holiday timeframe. It has now been pushed into early 2021. So if you were looking to play Control or the next-gen version of Control on your PlayStation or your PlayStation 5 or your Xbox Series X or S, you won't be able to do that until 2021. And remember, they got in a little bit of hot water a couple months ago when they announced that you're gonna have to rebuy the version of Control. They don't have any like smart delivery or upgrade features. So I think trying to figure that out is probably also a nightmare. So hopefully Remedy figures it out. And I would be really looking forward to. I didn't play Control, on current gen, so looking forward to potentially picking it up on next gen. Kind of in the vein of video game documentaries, a lot of them have been coming out. I watched Level Up on Netflix, and I've kind of been seeing a lot more or hearing a lot more about these kind of video game documentaries that are in production or coming out. Saw one this week that looked really cool. It's called Insert Coin, and it's really focused on the kind of arcade time frame, arcade cabinet time frame of like the kind of late 80s, early 90s of really blowing up. It looks like it's really heavily focused on Midway, which means they're going to be talking a lot about arcade cabinets and Mortal Kombat, but just kind of what it meant to these companies that wanted to like live and breathe by kids putting coins in slots. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. This one drops on November 25th, I think was the right date. Yeah, and I'm all about these. I really like. I remember some of the stuff that went along with that these documentaries are talking about, and kind of hearing the rise and fall of Midway Games. But really look interested to get into the other areas of the arcade cabinets that might have been predated me. So looking forward to seeing more about that video game documentary. Last but certainly not least, Fall Guys has a really active Twitter, and that seems to be where we get all of our sources for news for Fall Guys. They started talking about their latest level that'll be entering into rotation called Big Fans, and it's just a series of fans, and you got to jump from one fan to another. Especially sometimes when it has kind of the rotator to try and knock you off. So looked like a pretty fun game. Definitely has that kind of race vibe and something that you kind of figured would be there the whole time. So looking forward to playing the latest level added to Fall Guys. Big Fans, it's called. It's not just because it's OnlyFans doesn't mean it's an OnlyFans. So yeah, looking forward to playing Big Fans in Fall Guys. That's it. Quick week. Next week, I bet it's going to be ridiculous with all of the next gen consoles and talking and reviews on all the games that are dropping next week. This one was a little bit lighter. I think it really feels like the calm before the storm. So looking forward to talking about next gen and hearing all about the consoles, and you get to hear about all of the trials and tribulations of me trying to buy next gen consoles next week, especially if I can't, camp out in front of a store. I was definitely, dusting off my camping chair so that I could park myself in front of a Best Buy for 8 hours. But that's not the way I can get it. Then I've got to try and beat out those bots. So let me know if you've already successfully bought a next gen console. Or if you, like me, are going to be struggling with it. And if you get one, feel free to tweet it out at me and say, look, I got one. Because I will definitely also be doing that. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you do, follow, like, and subscribe to me on YouTube and Twitch so you can see more great content like this. Thanks again, and I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. I hope you have a super day. Bye!